Hey y'all, welcome back to my live broadcast. I'm Shanta Prince, and I help women coaches leverage their gifts and expertise to build profitable coaching and consulting brands. Welcome to those of you who hang out with me live. Welcome to all of my replay viewers. I am super excited to be hanging out today because this last week has been so crazy, y'all. Like my clients know, my clients know all the stuff that has been happening, that's been going on this week. And I'm so excited to be like getting back into the swing of things. My mom had some health challenges and I flew into Chicago to see about her. So she had to get like she had to get a heart surgery. And then when she was getting ready to get released after her heart surgery, she got COVID. So that prolonged her stay. And then she was just really kind of weak after that. Y'all know, like most of us have had COVID before. So sometimes it could be a heavy hitter. And that was her first time getting it. So right when she was getting ready to get released, she got COVID. And then she was getting ready to get released again, and then she was just too weak. And so it has been a real ongoing struggle after this heart surgery. And so I just got back in from Chicago a couple days ago. And even though like I love the city of Chicago, I like to go there on good terms. So but anyway, I went to go check on my mom and see how things were going for her. And I'm just now like getting my groove back. So y'all know how like when you're running a business, like things can hit you in a certain way, but it's always a good idea. Well, I know for me, I don't know if everybody is like this, but for me, I feel like when you've got a routine, it's so important to maintain that routine no matter what comes your way, because I believe that routine is what keeps things stable. So I feel like when something happens, let's say for example, you've got this workout routine and then all of a sudden something happens in your life. And when you stop maintaining your routine, it just makes things harder to get back on track. So if you maintain your routine, it makes things easier because you have something that's normal. And I learned that in the military, because when I was in the Navy, like everything we had this saying when I was in the Navy that the only thing that's constant is change. So something is all always changing. But the thing that keeps the stability is the routine. And that's kind of like what I want to talk about today. Like, I didn't even intend for that to lead into that, but I want to talk about habits that move the needle, and habits and maintaining your routine in business. But I want to talk about the things that actually move the needle forward in your business, because from what I understand is that, we all have things that we do every day, but are we doing the things that actually move the needle? Are we doing the things that make a difference in our business? So the first thing is, none of us have like a lot of time to spare. I don't know about you, but like I do not have a lot of time to spare on things that don't move the needle in my business. My life is super busy, and yours probably is too, right? We all got so much going on. Like my kids always have something going on. As a matter of fact, my birthday is coming up, and my birthday weekend, like I was like thinking about like earlier this year, I was like, oh, I want to go do this and I want to go do that. And my daughter has 2 or 3 performances during my birthday weekend. So, so there's that. So I'll be spending my birthday weekend hanging out with her at her performances. But my point is, we all have like a lot of things going on, and we have like busy lives. So it's really important for your business that you focus on the things that actually move the needle, the things that actually make a difference. So, and of course, there are some things that get in the way of those things at times, but you really have to fight. You really have to be relentless when it comes to maintaining your routine, maintaining those habits that move the needle. For example, you guys, just when I got ready to go live today, my computer like blacked out. Like, and I have an iMac. Now, when I was using other kinds of computers, I will always have stuff going on, always have technical issues. When I was in the Navy and the computer would, how the blue screen would come up. When I was in the Navy, we called it the blue screen of death, right? Because it means, oh my goodness, something crazy is going on with your computer, and we got to get this thing back up and running. Well, I never really have that many issues with my iMac, y'all, but like when I got ready to go live today, the screen just went black, and I was like, "What is going on?" So I had to shut everything down, bring it back up, y'all. It was it was a piece of work, but nevertheless, I was like, "I'm gonna get this computer back up, and I'm still going to go live. I'm still going to hang out with my audience today. Um, might be delayed, but not denied, right?" So So that's one of my habits is I go live every Thursday. And so I could have just said, you know what, my computer crashed. I'm just not going to do it. But no, I'm like, I'm working to get this thing up because I'm still going to go live. So I want you to think about this from this perspective. Your business is a culmination of the habits that you do every day. It's a culmination of what you do daily. So one of the things I really focus on helping my clients to really understand is that sometimes when you're when you're working and you're trying to get things done, it's easy to not think that what you're doing is important. But I promise you, when you're doing the right things every day, they start to stack on each other, right? They start to stack. And it's almost like compounding interest, right? It's like a snowball. It's a snowball effect. So, for example, if one of the things that I really I'm always telling my clients is to connect with new people. If you're connecting with new people on a regular basis, you may not see the return right away, but you'll see the return eventually. So I always see people like struggling, like we do things like for cash injections, and we do things to make extra money when we need it, but that's totally okay to do that. But the thing is, it's really hard to do something like if you do like a cash injection event. Let's say you're looking at your projected income, you're like, oh man, I needed more money to be able to pay my team. And let's say you need an extra $30,000 or you need an extra $20,000. It's like, okay, I need to be able to pay my team this month. So let me, do some events to bring up my cash. It's hard to do that if your habits are not already in place. And so here's an example of that. If you want to make an extra $20,000 or extra $30,000, right? It's easier to do that if you already have been building your connections. If you don't have any connections, you can still make $30,000, but it's going to take a little extra effort. It's going to take a little extra work. But if you've been working, let's say you've been talking to people on a regular basis, every single day you're talking to people, you're going back and reconnecting with people, you're keeping those lines of communication open, and you need to add an extra $30,000 to your bottom line. It's so much easier to go back to the people that you've been talking to, the people that you know their situations, you know their businesses, or whatever their situation is. For me, it's businesses. For you, it could be their situation around their health. It could be their situation around their mindset. It could be their situation around their finances, depending on whatever your niche is, right? You go back to that person, you know them, you've been talking to them, you know what their situation is. It's easier to make them an offer because you know them and you've been talking to them, and it's easier for you to make an offer that's suitable to them. And so, but if you're not communicating with new people, or you're not maintaining the relationships that you have, it makes it harder to close a sale. So this is what I mean by your business is a culmination of what you're doing daily. If you're communicating with new people every single day, or are nurturing the relationships that you have every single day, then sales becomes easier for you because of the connection. Now, I'm like, if you watch any of my videos, you may have heard me say this because I say it all the time about connecting with new people. Connection is currency. Talking to your people is so valuable. Not only do you get to find out what they're struggling with, you get some really invaluable information. When you're connected with your audience, you don't have to look at what anybody else is doing, because your audience will tell you exactly what they need and what they want from you. Like, you don't have to look at somebody else and say, well, so and so is doing it like this or this, because your audience will tell you this is where I am and this is what I need. When you have that connection with your audience, it is priceless. But when you're connecting with them on a regular basis, you can make offers and you can close more sales. Every day you should be waking up. I have this have this joke that I always share, and I'm always talking about, like, you can literally wake up like, who's got my money today? Like, who is next, right? Like, who am I going to help next? Whose life am I going to transform next? And you get in action and start going making offers with people. It's hard to make an offer with somebody that you don't know. And I will tell you, I just got a message the other day from somebody, and I could tell that she was like in a hurry, because I know that this person understands sales and she understands the sales process, but I could tell that she was in a hurry to try to, get me into this program. And the reason why I knew she was in a hurry is because she really hadn't like really connected with me or gotten to know me. And so when you make somebody an offer and you don't really know them and you don't know their situation, then it comes off as salesy. So you hear people saying things like, "Oh, I want to sell without being salesy." Well, the way that you sell without being salesy is to build connections with people. And you make offers to them based on what where they are and what they need. And the way that you find out where they are and what they need is by communicating with them. Now, of course, those are not the only ways to close a sale. There's so many different ways to close a sale, but I'm telling you that connection beats any type of sales strategy. Connecting with human beings beats any other way to sell because of the relationship. Now, sometimes you're going to be able to sell a lot faster with other strategies, but building connections with people there's so many different things you can do when you actually focus on building a connection with people. So we're talking about habits that move the needle. So first of all, communicating with people on a regular basis so that when you are ready to sell something, you've got people who are interested. And if you're brand new and you're still trying to figure out what to offer, I promise you will find out if you start talking to people, your people, not just anybody, but you got to talk to your people and find out exactly what they need and want from you. You will get content ideas. You'll get ideas for offers. They will tell you what they're struggling with, right? Because people, I said this last week, people pay for solutions. So if you're speaking to an ideal client and they're explaining a problem to you and you know you got the solution, then you got an idea. That's an idea for a product, an idea for a service, an idea for some content. And you could really, really build an amazing business by just communicating with people every single day. And I'll always say that one of the things about building a personal brand is allowing your audience to be co-creators with your brand. And what I mean by that is allow input from your audience, allow them to talk about what they're struggling with, allow them to explain things how they explain it, and then you build based on that. I think when people say, I just saw a reel about this where her take, she was talking about something totally different, but the saying, build it and they will come. That's not, hey, Natasha, that's not how it actually works. It's funny. I can actually see your name today. That is so strange. Yay. Because for a while, it wouldn't show your name. So I'm excited that I can see your name today. So build it and they will come. That's not exactly how it works, right? As a matter of fact, I encourage my clients to do it differently, right? Build it as you go, because people are attracted to people who are showing up and people who are solving problems. If someone knows that you've got the solution to their problem, guess where they're going to be? They're going to be wherever you are, because you've got the solution to their problem. But the way that you find those things out is by engaging with people. Never be too far removed from engaging with people. Yes, eventually you'll have other people who are able to engage on your behalf. And then what you want to do is, let's say you got somebody, you have an intern or you hired somebody to help you with engaging with people. Then what you'll do in those instances is draw from them. Hey, what's going on? What's going on in the streets? What are people saying? What does our audience need right now? And that is the key to really building a successful personal brand, is allowing your audience to co-create with you. What do they want? What do they need? What problems are they facing right now? And how can you meet them where they are? Now, I'm talking about the problems that you solve, right? So if I'm talking to someone and if I'm talking to, a person who may be a potential candidate for my program, and she says something like, well, I really need a website right now. I've got everything else in place. The last thing I need is a website, right? Now, just a little, I'm capable of building websites. I can build websites, but I do not provide websites as a service, even though I can build them. Now, if one of my clients are trying to build a website and they're trying to, set things up, I'm able to help them to navigate through those things if they're building their own website and so forth. I can talk about what you need to have on your website, what things you need to have in place, and guide them in the right direction. However, I do not actually build websites. So at that point, if that person is saying my problem is I need a website because whatever that person is trying to do, maybe they're trying to increase their visibility, or maybe there's some reason why they need a website right now. That's not a problem that I'm solving, right? So when I say, talking to people to find out what issues they're facing, I mean the problems according to what you can solve. That's the beautiful thing about the kind of businesses that we have, is that you don't have to solve any problem that you're not able to solve. If you solve a specific problem and a person does not have the problem that you solve, then that's just not your ideal client, right? It's simple. If they don't have the problem that you solve, that's not your ideal client, right? So you go and you find people that have the problems that you can solve, and those are your ideal clients. So talking to people on a regular basis is a habit that moves the needle. Why? Because talking to people builds a connection. Connections lead to consultations. Consultations lead to sales, right? Is like business can seem really complicated, y'all, when you're in the coaching consulting space. It seems like a lot. It seems really complicated, but y'all, like at the core of this business, any coaching, consulting business, mentorship business, at the core of it is the process is actually very simple, you guys. Like, you want to find people who have the problem that you solve, you want to connect with them, and then you want to provide solutions. Like it, and it's all it is, y'all, is what I just told you over and over again. It's rinse and repeat, right? Find people who have the problems that you solve, right? You want to engage with them to be able to identify that they actually have the problem that you solve, and you want to make offers. The more offers you make, the more sales you close. If you don't have enough sales, go back and see how many offers you made. If you finish the week and you didn't hit your sales goal, if you're comfortable with where you are, that's totally fine. Some people, that's how they're running their businesses. Maybe they only want to reach a certain income goal. Maybe they've got what they need, and that's totally okay. However, if you're not where you want to be, you didn't reach your sales goals for the week, go back and see how many offers you made, because the number of offers that you make, that's going to directly correlate to the amount of sales that you close. So if you're not making anybody any offers, if you're not inviting people to get on a call with you, then you're not going to have enough sales. So, but the thing is, you're not even going to have enough people get on the phone with you if you're not connecting with enough people on a regular basis. So when I talk about like putting your time and effort into habits that move the needle, that's one of them. Talking to people, communicating with people, building connections every day, right? Growing your network. That should be a regular part of your business, is building your network, connecting with people. Sometimes people in your network are going to be potential clients. Sometimes they're going to be potential collaborators who can get you in front of your potential clients. But the key is connecting and building relationships with people on a regular basis. The other thing you want to think about is your content. Now, I had this statistic and I wrote it down, and I don't know where I put it, you guys, but because I talked about this in one of my previous videos. Content creators make a lot of money, y'all. A lot of money. And I talked about this in one of the ones who are consistent. Now, I talked about this in one of my previous videos, and I mentioned to one of my clients that you should be seeing your business as a media company. Your brand should be, if you approach your brands and your business, and in your mind understand that you are a media company, it will change the game for your business. Content is, in essence, if you are an expert, you are a coach or mentor or consultant, you are an expert. And every expert has something that we can look at or point to and validate your expertise, right? There's something that we can look at and say, okay, this person knows their stuff, right? This person knows what they're talking about. And so for different experts, it could be different things. Like earlier, I talked a little bit about how my mom, with her heart surgery, and then how she got COVID, and how she was weak, right? So when I'm talking to the people who are caring for her, I have something that I can look at and point to their expertise. They have medical degrees, right, in this specific area where we're working on. So If I wanted to ask a question about my mom's heart condition, then I will speak to the doctor who did her heart surgeon. So, if I want to talk to a doctor about her kidneys, then I will speak to the nephrologist, the doctor who is looking after the state of her kidneys. And so, they have things that we can point back to their expertise and say, okay, this person is an expert in this field. Now, for us, sometimes we get it a little mixed up. Like we think that people are looking for certain things when they're looking at our expertise. We think people need to see degrees and they need to see, they need to see certifications and things like that. And some of that in some spaces, that's absolutely necessary. However, in our space, the way that people identify your expertise is by your content, how you're showing up. When you show up and you're sharing and you're teaching and you're inspiring and you're doing the thing that God has gifted you to do, then people begin to identify you as an expert, right? But you got to stay consistent with talking about the stuff that you talk about. So if one week, if I showed up one week and today I'm talking to y'all about, makeup and skincare, and then the next week I'm talking about something totally different, and then I pop up the week after that and now I'm talking about social media marketing, it's going to get confusing and you're going to end up being like, okay, what does Shanta really do? Because every week she's talking about something different. Now, if I'm talking about doing makeup for your live videos, then that's a different ball game because it's around my expertise. One of the things that I'm always encouraging my clients to do is live videos. So if I'm talking about, okay, here's how to do makeup when you're going to do your live videos, then that is my expertise. So you want to focus on showing up as the expert that you are so that people can start to identify you as an expert. That's called positioning. Positioning is about how your audience, what place do you hold in their minds? What place do you hold in their minds? So for example, if I wanted to go get some professional pictures done, I have someone in mind when it comes to professional pictures. Why? Because first of all, well, I work with this person, but before I worked with her, I studied her for a couple of years and I got to see her expertise in action. And then I finally decided, okay, I want to work with this person. But it was her showing her work and her showing up, which allowed me to be able to see her as an expert. And so if I wanted to learn how to, if I wanted someone to run like my social media ads, I have someone in mind for that. Why? Because this person has demonstrated their expertise many times over. And if I wanted someone to run, I usually run my own Facebook ads and things like that. But if I wanted somebody to do that, then I know who to contact. They have a position in my mind. And so positioning is, how does your audience, what do they associate you with? What problem do you solve, and does that come up in their minds? Do they identify you as that person? Do they think about you when that problem comes up? So if I have a specific problem, I know exactly who to contact because of positioning. And so when you're showing up as the expert that you are, then it really levels up your positioning to the point where people start saying, oh wow, like, okay, I'm ready. I got this problem. They may not need you right now, but and this is what I mean by consistency. If you show up one week and then they don't see you for a month, then they start to disassociate you with whatever it was they associated you with, or whatever positioning you're trying to establish, then they start to lose that connection. So that's why it's so important to be consistent. Like, for example, the other day, we bought a deep freezer, and I bought it to start having more storage. My freezer, I have one of those side by side refrigerators and freezer, and it's just not enough space in there for me to store the stuff that I want to be able to store. So I was telling my husband, he was like, well, where do you want to put it? I was like, wherever it goes, it needs to be like, somewhere where I won't be like going into it all the time, because I'll be like, oh, you know what, let me go over here and get this. Or it won't be it won't be for storage, put it that way. It'll be like me going in it every day for dinner. And so So my husband was like, yeah, so for you, what you're saying is out of sight, out of mind. And I'm like, exactly. I need it out of my sight. So I'm not thinking about it. And it's like that's how it is with your brand. If you're out of sight, you're out of mind. But if you're constantly showing up, you're constantly being visible, then people start to you become known, you start to become known for this specific thing. And that's what building a brand is all about. It's about positioning. Earlier, when I started this session, I talked about how your brand and your business is a culmination of what you do every single day. So if you're connecting with people on a regular basis, if you're showing up like the expert that you are, you're sharing content, you're engaging with your audience, people are able to see your gifts in action. So they associate you with that specific problem that you solve. Like for example, real estate agents, if you have a friend or you know someone, if you want to sell a house or you want to buy a house, a real estate agent, they want you to think about them, right? So even though there's so many real estate agents out there, I used to be a real estate agent. As a matter of fact, I almost went and got my license again. I just really love I love real estate, but the thing is, for me, being an introvert, when they told me I needed to go knock on people's doors, I was out. I'm like, if I have to do that, like, I'm out, right? You got to know yourself. So I'm like, that's not what I'm going to be doing. Is knocking on people's doors to have have conversations. That is an introvert's nightmare. But anyway, so they want if you want to sell a house or buy a house, they want you to think about them. I just came across a real estate agent a few weeks ago, and she was like, she gave me her card. She was like, hey, give me a call if you want to buy or sell. Why does she do that? Positioning. She wants me to think of her when I get ready to buy or sell. However, I will tell you this. Imagine now, she gave me a business card, y'all. Like, okay, so what do most of us do with business cards? If you're like me, you probably put it somewhere. You may throw it away. Or you may even forget the face of the person that gave it to you. You may not remember where you got it from. You probably will lose it, throw it away, or it'll be buried down in your purse somewhere, right? So I may forget who she is. As a matter of fact, I actually don't remember her name, and I don't even know where their business card is at, right? But imagine if she had gotten my email address and was sending me emails like, y'all, this is the holiday season. This is my favorite time of the year. Anybody who knows me knows this is my favorite time of the year. Imagine if she had gotten my email address, and imagine she sent me a recipe. I was like, hey, the fall season, the holiday season, here's a recipe that you can make for whatever. And then let's say next week she's like, hey, we've got some new homes coming on the market or whatever. Click here to check out our floor plans. And then let's say the next week she emailed me again. It was like, hey Shanta, I just want to follow up with you. I sent you an email with a recipe, and I just want to know if you tried that recipe. That's like building a relationship, right? So if she's doing that, guess what? She's staying in the forefront of my mind because she's visible and she's showing up. And I'm seeing her as an expert. And guess what? When I am ready to buy or sell, guess what I'm going to think about? I'm going to think about her. That's the same impact you want to have with your brand, is you want to stay visible so that people associate you as the expert when they have the specific problem that you solve. Okay. So we're talking about habits that move the needle. Number one, connecting with people on a regular basis, right? Engaging with your people. Don't be one of those people who avoid it. I see it so many times where, listen, can I just be honest, y'all? If I am going to hire someone to help me to accomplish something, do you think I would hire the person who's avoiding me? They don't really want to talk. They posted this link and they want me to click the link to join. And I have a question or two. I don't mind joining from the link, but I got a question or two. And then when I reach out to them, they don't respond, or you think I would want to join with the person who's very visible. They're ready to answer my questions. They're checking in on me to see if there's anything I need, if there's anything that I don't clearly understand that I need answers to. And I'm pretty sure you can guess that I'm gonna want to join with the second one, because for me, if you're avoiding me, if you don't really want to talk to me, I don't understand like this whole idea, this whole concept of I want to work with these people, but I don't really want to talk to them. Like, I don't really want to like get on a call with them. And I know, like I said, there are different ways to get clients. There's so many different ways. But when I'm working with someone, I'm working with the person who has they demonstrate amazing customer service and they're readily available if I have questions. Because if they're avoiding me, then to me, that's a sign of what I would get if I joined their program. So if you're staying visible and you're staying in touch with your people, you're staying in the forefront of their minds, it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. So back to what I started out with in the beginning is I talked about how we all are very busy. So it's important that when you're putting that time and effort into your business, you're putting it into the things that move the needle. Okay. Number one, connecting with people. Number two, creating content that demonstrates your expertise. Now, I'm not saying everything you create has to be telling someone how to do something, but your content can be whatever your audience needs it to be. And you don't have to overthink it. Like, you don't have to overthink it because it's going to do a few things for you. Your content is going to demonstrate your expertise, but it's also going to help you to build a rapport and relationships with the people in your audience. And then number three, your content drives your sales. You can leverage your content to close more sales. So your content is one way that people are going to be able to identify you as an expert. And many times when you're brand new, this is why a brand new coach can start out getting clients right away, because there's some really quick ways that you can start to demonstrate your expertise and position yourself as an expert. Remember when I said what positioning was? It's about the spot that you hold in your ideal client's mind, that place that you hold in their mind. Do they think about you when that problem that they have comes up, the problem that you solve, right? That's what positioning is all about. So if you position yourself as an expert in their minds, the way that you do that is by your content. Okay. Every expert has something that we can point to that validates their expertise. For us, it's our content, right? Now, if I sat here and told you, you know what, I have a degree, I have an associate's degree in computer studies. I also have a bachelor's degree in computer studies. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and I have a master's of divinity and practical theology, right? Now, what does that really mean to you? Because you're like, listen, I'm here so you can help me grow my business. Now, the degrees that I just mentioned, and I do have those degrees. However, that does not give you evidence that I'm an expert in helping you to build your personal brand and leverage your gifts so that you can build a profitable coaching or consulting brand. Right. So what happens is so many people, they lead with the wrong stuff. They're leading with the degrees and with the certifications. But what people really want to know is, can you help them? Can you solve their problem? And the way that they figure that out is not by you showing up saying, hey, I can solve your problem. Right. But it's you showing up and demonstrating that to them, because anybody can say anything, right? But when when you demonstrate to them that you can do this, then they will associate you with the expert. So for example, one of the things that when I minister in church, for example, I never go up to people and say I'm a prophet. I never do that. I never have done that. Well, what happens is when people see me minister, they call me prophetess. Why? Because of the demonstration of my spiritual gifts. When they see my spiritual gifts in action, my spiritual gifts line up with someone who operates in the prophetic. And they identify me as a prophet. So when people see your gifts in action, they identify you as a whatever you want to be identified as. A health and wellness specialist, a mindset mentor, a financial expert, whatever you want to be identified as. If your content is lining up with that, then that's what people will see you as. Okay. But it's really important for you to show up that way and consistently, so that when it's time for you to close the sale, like, people are ready to go, to the point where, as a matter of fact, when I did a challenge years ago, I was in a program and the challenge was to go live every day for 30 days. So I was like kind of coming out of this cave where I had been selling and it just wasn't working. At the time, like sales was rough, but now I actually love sales. So I just decided, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go live because if y'all know me, y'all know I love some live video. So I was like, well, I'm gonna go live, but I'm not gonna sell anything. And so I went live for 30 days. Do y'all know by the end of before that 30 days was up, people were asking me, how can I work with you? People were I didn't have to sell them anything. They were asking me, how can I work with you? What programs do you have? And it was because of me showing up every day for those 30 days and them seeing my expertise. That's why I'm telling you that your content can drive your sales. Okay. So when it comes to this stuff, y'all, like I know what I'm talking about. This is why I work on getting my clients on a regular routine of creating content. We're talking about habits that move the needle, right? Your habits make up your routine. And there are some habits that can move the needle and some that don't. And what I find is that a lot of coaches and consultants, they get wrapped up into the habits that don't move the needle. And that's why they're frustrated and they're broke. Because they're putting too much effort into the wrong habits instead of putting effort into the habits that move the needle. Right? Remember, we don't have time, right? We don't have time to get so caught up in things that aren't moving the needle. We need to focus on things that make an impact in our businesses, right? And then for the other stuff, we can make time for those things later, right? One of them being a website. Now, I'm not saying don't create a website, but I'm saying don't allow not having a website to stop you from making money because you don't need a website to be able to make money. Okay. So that's when, if you're working, let's say, like for example, when I built my very first website, it took me 2 weeks. And that was 2 weeks of like working every day. Like, it was a lot. It took me 2 weeks to put together a really amazing website the very first time I built a website. Now, listen, in 2 weeks, let me tell you, let me give you an idea of what you can do in 2 weeks. One of my clients closed 9 sales in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, you can pick up quite a few new clients. Let's say you have a program and your program is $10,000. You can go get you can make $50,000 in 2 weeks. You can close, if you really wanted to, you can go out and get 5 new clients in a 2-week time frame, right? But if you're taking that 2 weeks and you're putting it all into building a website, when you can be putting it into closing sales, and then you can pay somebody to build your website, right? Then that makes all the difference. And I've had people tell me, well, Shanta, I know you said I don't really need a website, but I really want to have my website before I start my business. And I'm like, oh, like it grinds my gears because I'm like, listen, I'm telling you, the website is not going to prevent you. Not having a website is not going to keep you from closing a sale. And it breaks my heart because I'm like, oh, like after those 2 or 3 weeks it takes I know that there are a lot of different programs you can put together a website pretty quickly, but I'm like, all that effort in building that website, you could have like made so much money by now instead of like, and this is an example of a habit or something that you're putting your effort into that does not move the needle for your business. So at the end of those couple of weeks where you're working on building that website, what do you have? A website, right? But do you have any money to sustain your business, right? Not just to, sustain your business, but so that you can actually grow. When you're in business, you need money to grow. You need money to stay in business. So a business, the ultimate goal is to be able to make a profit, right? You solve problems, you make a profit. So you got to make money to be able to keep your business going, right? And to be able to reach those dream goals, to get to your why. There's a reason why you started this business in the first place. So you want to focus on the things that move the needle. Okay. So finally, I want to talk about this too. So we talked about connecting with people on a regular basis. We talked about being consistent with your content so that you can show up like the expert that you are. It's one thing to know that you know your stuff, right? But does your audience know that you know your stuff? Your content is going to show them that you absolutely do. Okay. Your content is going to show them that you absolutely do know your stuff. Now, the other thing is, I cannot emphasize this enough, y'all. Like, you have to make it a daily habit You have to make problem solving a daily habit in business. Entrepreneurship, business is about solving problems, y'all. Like, I cannot emphasize that enough. If every time something comes up in your business, you're ready to run, every time you get a problem, you're ready to throw in the towel, then that's a red flag. And you really, I would encourage you to change your mindset around that, because problem solving is what we do. And you've got to accept that I am a problem solver. So when problems show up, you can't run, because being in business is being a problem solver. That is a part of what we do as entrepreneurs, as CEOs. We solve problems. Even when, like, when my family members call me for something, like I told you about my mom, dealing with some health issues. So for me, the way that I'm wired is, okay, I'm listening, 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 and listening. But when I hear the problem, I light up, because I'm like, okay, now we're getting to the bottom of things, right? For me, I don't know about y'all, but for me, like, I need a problem to solve. Like, yes, we can do the touchy feely stuff and all that, but like, where's the problem? Because I am a problem solver. And now sometimes being a problem solver can be, you gotta know your limits. You gotta really understand yourself, because sometimes, y'all, our desire or our ability to identify a problem and then solve it, sometimes that can get us in trouble a little bit, because if you're talking to a loved one and they're looking for the touchy feels, but you're busy focusing on solving the problem, now that can that can cause relationship issues, right? But for those of us with the entrepreneurial mindset, when we see a problem, we're like, okay, now I can get to work, right? I solve problems. That's what you got to tell yourself. I solve problems. You got to make it a daily habit of solving problems. So every day in business, we have some type of problem that needs to be solved. That problem can be, okay, we don't have enough leads. It could be we don't have enough sales. It could be the technology went down. It could be someone hacked into my account. Like, so there's always like, when I was in the Navy, we called it putting out fires, right? So there's always some kind of fire to put out. So when we say putting out fires, that means solving problems, right? So every day there's like, it could be a big fire, it could be a little fire. But every day, like, there's something that you've got to wake up and say, okay, this is what I'm working on solving today. It's just a normal part of being in business. So don't panic, don't throw in a towel and take off running, but accept that you are a problem solver, y'all. Like, these kinds of things move the needle. When you've got an issue that comes up and you're like, okay, let's take care of it. Let's dive into it. Don't shy away from problems, okay? You can do hard things. This is what I used to tell myself when I was first starting. I would say to myself, I can do hard things. I've done hard things before. I'm still doing hard things. I'm going to keep doing hard things. You can do hard things. And I'll be the first to tell you, if no one has ever told you this, business is hard. I say this all the time. Business is hard, y'all. It is not for the faint-hearted. But I promise you, if God has called you to the mountain of business, He's also fully equipped you to be able to accomplish the mission. Okay. So think about the habits that you're doing every day. I want you to ask yourself, when you get ready to get wrapped up into something, ask yourself, is this moving the needle in my business? Is this adding to my bottom line? Can this wait? Can somebody else do this? And focus on the task at hand. Now, I know y'all have been seeing it. Like, we see it everywhere. People are talking about recession this, recession that. This is one way to get yourself prepared, is to start to identify the things in your business that move the needle and the things in your business that don't. Because I believe a time is coming where we're going to need our free time to work on ourselves. And I've talked to my clients about this. Mental toughness is going to be so important in this next season. And instead of you being wrapped up in stuff that's not moving the needle in your business, you can use that time to work on yourself, work on your mindset, work on your body, work healing from past situations and things like that. But your time is going to be very valuable in this next season, and you've got to know what's moving the needle and what's not, so that you can get to that next level. All right, you guys, thank y'all so much for hanging out. Thank you for hanging out, even though I had some technical difficulties with my computer in the beginning. And I will be back at the same time next week. I go live every Thursday. So If you're in my group, then you can reach out to me. Well, actually, you don't have to be in my group to be able to reach out to me. But however, if you're not in my group, I would love for you to join us, Purpose Driven Coaches and Mentors on Facebook. And if you have any questions about anything, most of y'all already know you can reach me on direct messenger, or you can email me. If you're watching on YouTube, you can email me at info@shantaprince.com. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Y'all know Thanksgiving is next week. My kids are super excited about Thanksgiving. Now, I will tell y'all that Christmas is my favorite. So, but I wouldn't tell them that. But Christmas is my favorite. So, but the kids are super excited about Thanksgiving. I hope you're excited about the holiday season as well, just as excited as I am. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And I will see y'all again next Thursday. Have a good one.